I've noticed people tend to flex the hardest in the areas where they feel the weakest. The areas where maybe they're fighting to be seen, fighting to be known, heard, trusted, believed, where maybe deep down they don't actually feel that way about themselves. It's like if I posture my strength when I don't feel strong, or I'll brag about the things that I don't have or don't know how to do. Maybe if I drop my credentials and my degrees, then people will take me seriously, that people won't notice that I'm without. And on the surface, to the naked eye, it looks like confidence. And yet, beneath the surface, when we actually start to dig, we often find that it's just fear in disguise. The thing about flexing is that we're trying to access trust and safety through control and through perception. We say, look at me and see all the things that I can do. But what we really mean is that good enough? Am I good enough? And I don't think this is a bug of the human condition that needs to be solved or to be fixed. It's a feature of our experience. It's the other side of a confidence paradox, where our complicated relationship to power and peace, presence, they all collide. I used to flex when I took my shirt off, not because I was proud, but because I wasn't proud. I was this weird mix of hiding and hoping that if I can just manage how you see me, then maybe I'll feel better about how I see me. The reality is that I wasn't fit, and I was hiding my insecurity as if I didn't care or I was just really modest, but in reality, I was actually really embarrassed and ashamed of myself. And even now, after getting fitter, there are still moments where there's just that part of me shows up, where I catch myself adjusting, angling, signaling, doing different things to try to have people see me a certain way, and looking at these own small areas of myself that I still deem unworthy of love and that I'm not able to love or respect without the approval of others. And the question I keep asking myself is, does this shit ever stop? Or is this just how it is now until I die? When does my need to flex and prove myself become something that's actually the thing keeping me stuck? There's this idea that I heard years ago, and it's always stayed with me, that we all want something to know something about us. We all want everyone else to know something about us. And the question is, what is it, and what length will we go to for them to know? What will we put ourselves through to feel acknowledged, to feel seen, to feel understood? And there's this strange paradox that we crave to be fully witnessed without the need for a mask. Let's call this vulnerability or intimacy. And yet at the same time, we flex and we hide and we pretend to be someone else. It's this weird unspoken demand that I want you to really know me, but I also won't let you. I think about all the weird and wonderful lengths we'll go to just so someone says, I get you, I understand you, I see you, I hear you, I believe you. And how loud we'll get, how hard we'll work, how much we'll suffer and sacrifice for that, just for a moment, to feel fully seen by another person in a way that we ourselves feel loved and accepted. It's a lot of pressure to put onto other people, especially when we can't do that for ourselves, especially when we might struggle to offer that to them. But I also think what's interesting is what happens when we do get acknowledged. Maybe it calms us down for a moment. Maybe we stop trying to defend or prove ourselves. Maybe we put down the sword or shield for a day, but then some new threat appears and the praise wears off and off we go looking for another hit. And I think this is what flexing is often about. I think it's more than just something to prove. I think it's a feeling we're desperately trying to feel while avoiding it at the same time. This feeling of I'm good enough, but also avoiding the feeling of our own not enoughness. It's a truth about us that we're not willing and ready to face yet, but hoping someone else can do it for us. And maybe there's a child in all of us that's just still trying to earn praise and love and peace and validation. That we might build our whole identities around thinking that if we just keep achieving and keep doing it and keep impressing, that maybe we'll finally be good enough. I've met so many people who openly admit that they're still trying to impress a parent who's dead, like in their tender moments of self-reflection. I've been asked on more than one occasion, do you think mum or dad would be proud of me? This is something that lives in all of us. I think there's a beautiful paradox where we're deeply connected with others while also trying to experience our own existence. The sense of connection and autonomy at the same time, trying to be part of the group, to be included, to be protected and have a place to contribute and be contributed to, but to also carve our own path and not be tethered to the limitations and the fears of others. And this paradox keeps showing up for me. The paradox where we say we want to feel like we're enough, but then we build our entire lives around not being good enough, making every decision from a place of not being good enough. We put our enoughness in our stuff, in someone else's opinion. It's as if our enoughness is a final destination where the heavens open and we've met the criteria for love without rejection. But what if hell isn't a fork in the road at the time of our passing, but the life we're living now because of the choice that we're making? We've all made our self-worth conditional, just like how love is conditional. We want and need unconditional love, and yet we love very conditional. This mere bristling that people feel when we talk about unconditional love, I think that represents the depth of our programming. The programming where we've given up on the idea that love can be unconditional. I think when we talk about it, people's reaction is that it's unrealistic, that it's woo-woo, that it's a nice idea, that it's impossible. And yet I think that reveals more about their current relationship to loving themselves unconditionally than the actual possibility of it. It's almost like if we don't keep performing, then we believe that the love will dry up and it'll be our fault. And so we keep flexing and we keep posturing and we keep pretending and hope that the truth about us will just go unnoticed. But there's a cruel twist of irony in all of this. I think that even when someone does actually admire us, gets close enough, it doesn't land because they're not admiring the real us. They're admiring a character, a mask, a version of us that we built for their applause. I think it stings even more when these people say that they know us. And deep down, we don't actually believe that's true. We just got so good at pretending to be someone else and they bought it. So now what? Do we just keep up the charade forever? Do we just keep feeding the story we've been telling? Or do we finally stop and ask what we really believe? Do we ask what might actually happen if we stop flexing? And is it worse than what happens if we don't? In Bronnie Ware's famous book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, Bonnie was a palliative carer who revealed the hard truths that people shared on their deathbeds. And the top regret, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. And the other 4 were, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. And I wish I'd let myself be happier. These regrets, they all live behind truths that weren't being told when they needed to be told. Truths that live behind a fear. Truths that live behind a mask of not caring, not needing, not wanting, when it just wasn't true. And yet, despite her book, the phenomenon of self-deception remains. Instead of working so hard to prove ourselves to other people, what if the hard work is learning to love ourselves so that we don't have to lie? What if we could look at any part of us, especially the parts that have been chasing approval since we were 5 years old, and say, I don't have to pretend. I don't have to perform to earn love. The most loving thing I can do is be honest with me. Because it's a radical act of courage. It takes a lot of bravery to drop the acts that we believe have kept us safe all this time. I think the truth eventually finds us all. It's just a matter of when. Will it be today? Or decades from now on your deathbed when you can't change it? You're allowed to stop flexing. You can stop pretending and posturing when you're ready. In fact, I think the sooner that you do, the sooner you'll realize just how many people around you are doing the same because they're just afraid of you as you are of them. And ironically, the sooner you choose radical self-honesty, there's this effect you'll notice in your life, that the people around you start to do the same. And you become a living demonstration rather than a threat. And yep, people do move at different speeds in different times, but your impact will have been made. That's what we're about. That's what we practice in our community. That's what my work and my contribution is about. It's not about how to flex better or how to follow some new framework to hide inside. It's not about how to outgun our fears or create better emotional camouflage. It's about how to get still enough to hear the whole truth that we've been trying to avoid, to be brave enough to say it out loud and not abandon ourselves when it might be really hard to hear. I've walked a path of radical self-honesty. I've walked a path of radical self-deception. Self-honesty is better. So keep flexing if you want. But I hope one day you'll discover that freedom isn't when other people finally accept us, but when we accept ourselves. I hope to see you inside.